systems are designed to do, to help people get out of these closed circles, these closed cycles, these downward spirals in the emotional realm. And so certainly this will change in the future. It is already changing. Therefore, although I understand the concept that we are in an emotional dark age, it is really not a dark age. It is actually a positive sign that more and more people are beginning to clear out the emotional body of themselves and of the planet. So again, what may seem like a disturbance or chaos from one level is actually a sign of progress, because you understand that before progress can happen, the old matrices must be broken down or stirred up or challenged or transcended. And that will create a certain amount of turmoil. You have all experienced in your own lives how you lived in many cases at a certain level of comfortability before you found the spiritual path. And then when you found the path, all of a sudden everything was in chaos in your life. Your relationships broke up, you lost your job, you were ill, somebody stole your car, whatever happened. All of these events can happen because in order for you to go higher, the old has to be broken up. You understand that the ego always tries to stay in control and maintain that sense of comfortability. So sometimes even the chaos that can be very unpleasant is still, in a sense, a hidden blessing, because it helps you free yourself from the idea of the ego that it should always be in control, that you should always be in control, or that life should always be comfortable. You have to come to a willingness to be uncomfortable in the short term in order to gain some advantage in the long term before you can make it to a higher level of the path. But then, of course, when you do make it to a higher level, as I've attempted to explain in my dictations here, you can attain a sense of peace. You can be non-attached to the outer turmoil, you can be non-attached to your own human self, you can love that human self, you can even come to love the outer conditions, whatever they are. And that can gain you at the higher levels of the path a sense of inner peace. But before you get to that level, yes, it is very difficult. It is difficult whether you're a spiritual person or a non-spiritual person who's being forced to deal with his or her emotions. We have compassion for this. But there is no other way, given the current level of consciousness, than to allow this chaos to happen.
Can you give us some understanding of homeschooling or teaching children at home and traditional education system? Is there any pros and contrasts? Is there any new information available?
Mother Mary. Again, we are working with many different peoples around the world to bring forth new ideas in the area of education. This messenger is not particularly educated in education and is therefore does not have the concept to be a vessel for bringing forth these ideas, but some of you, many people around the world, are open to this. In terms of homeschooling, it is somewhat of an individual evaluation. There are some children who can function well in a homeschool environment. There are some parents who can do well as teachers in a homeschool environment. But there are many children who will not achieve maximum growth by being homeschooled because they need interaction with greater numbers of other children than their own siblings. There are also some parents that are not suited, and it is not in their divine plan. They may have other focuses for their attention, they may have other aspects of their divine plan that they need to achieve, so that it is not optimal for them to be teachers at home. So I cannot give you a general answer. There's nothing as such wrong with homeschooling, but on the other hand, you need to realize that in a homeschooling environment, it is almost as if the parent has to learn everything as they go along. And why not make use of the fact that other people have been teachers and have gained experiences that you can use? So there is a need of creating some kind of, it is difficult to say a homeschooling system because the whole idea of homeschooling is, of course, that it is not as organized as more official education. but it is necessary to create something that people can use that is based on experience with a child, so that every parent that does homeschooling does not have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. It is of course, in a sense, the easy way out to send your child to a public school or to a private school that is already organized. It is more demanding to homeschool your child. So you should not avoid homeschooling in order to run away from something or be convenient. But on the other hand, you should not force yourself or your child into a homeschooling environment out of some either idea of how your child should be taught or some dissatisfaction with public schooling. It is important to abstract yourself from these preconceived ideas so that you are not running towards an ideal that may not be based on experience and seeking to force your child into it, or you're not running away from what you conceive as the dissatisfying conditions of the organized school system. It is really important to tune into yourself, to tune into the child. What is best for the child? What is in your divine plan?
Can you tell something about free energy?
Saint Germain.
Come on, Saint Germain. We want this.
Just start laughing.
Free energy is a concept partly inspired by us, partly by the fallen beings. You have heard the saying that there are no free lunches, that you have to pay the piper. And in a sense there is some truth to this. There is no free energy in the sense that there is obviously energy that can come into the physical octave from a higher octave. But it has to come from somewhere. Traditional science says that there is only a fixed amount of energy in the universe, and energy cannot be created and destroyed. As we have already said, science knows that the universe is expanding at an accelerated rate, and this can only be explained if there is new energy coming into the material realm in order to drive that expansion. But it is true that energy cannot be created or destroyed at the current level of consciousness, where, as was said earlier, the speed of light is an absolute speed limit to that level of consciousness. And so it is not possible for you to create free energy through a mechanical, technological device. Again, as I said with the atomic accelerator chair, we gave the concepts of this technological device. And there are many people in the world who dream of creating a technological device that can produce free energy in a completely mechanical way. There will in the future be technological devices that will take the world's energy production and the available energy to a higher level. I already have plans for this. They are in the etheric, they are beginning to be brought into the mental, but they are still being blocked quite heavily in the emotional octave by various people not accepting the concept, or by the fallen beings who are trying to create the turmoil that makes it impossible for people to bring it through the emotional into the physical. There are people I'm working with who are far along in terms of working with these concepts and creating certain devices. But you have to understand that this is not a mechanical process, because we will not allow the fallen beings to take free energy by force and turn it into unfree energy that they can monopolize and use to enslave people even more than the physical forms of energy you have right now. Free energy should, of course, set people free, not enslave them. And so we need to walk this delicate balance of how can we raise the consciousness to a certain level, how can we remove a sufficient number of fallen beings that we can release this higher form of energy without having it being used to control or put down the people. So it is still some ways off before the world's energy production will be taken to a higher level. But it will be achieved. I have given teachings on it earlier. I've given invocations where you can call this forth. And there might be other invocations that will come in the future for calling this into the physical. But it is a delicate topic. Or as I said, free energy must remain free, and it must free the people. I think I've sort of reached the end of my physical body stamina. So, thank you very much.
Why did you start laughing? Was it some joke you get through?
Well, it was just that I was sensing the sentiment was standing there, and I was expecting him to say something, and then it was almost like I felt it was starting, and then nothing happened. So it was like he kind of pulled back to say that it's not such a simple topic, you know. And it was like, yeah, he was willing to say something, but he really didn't want to say anything.